core of the SUV market lying in the sub 10 lakh rupee bracket, Hyundai needed another heavy hitter to further strengthen its position in the SUV segment. And that's where this car, the all-new Exter, comes in. Now the Exter, as you may know, is here to take on likes of the Maruti Suzuki Ignis to a certain extent, but largely to take on the Tata Punch. And to do that, Hyundai has given it some very overt SUV styling cues, as if to leave no ambiguity in the fact that this is very much an SUV, even though it is a subcompact one. So you've got these overly squarish, exaggerated wheel arches, both at the front and the rear. You've got very little in terms of overhangs. It's a fairly bold and interesting design, which values visibility, drivability over all else. But before we get into more about the Exter, here are some interesting facts about the segment that it occupies. Number 1. Over 51% of the total SUV market belongs to the compact SUV space. Number 2. This is only Hyundai's second SUV in the sub 4 meter category, the other one being the Venue. The Exter has already received 18,000 orders. By the end of financial year 2024, Hyundai expects micro SUVs like the Exter and the Tata Punch to account for 20% of the compact SUV segment. So the big question is the Exter the segment-leading benchmark that Hyundai claims it is? The spec sheet certainly seems to suggest so, with the Exter being packed with several features, a lot of which are segment firsts for the Rs 10 lakh bracket. These include voice-activated commands, a Blue Link system, which offers a variety of features including geofencing, valet mode, remote access, vehicle diagnostics, and about 60 other features. There's also a dual camera dash cam, but that's really just the beginning. Now this is where things get really interesting, because in typical Hyundai fashion, they have crammed it with features. This of course is the top end segment, so it's absolutely loaded with features. It's got an 8-inch touchscreen, a 4-inch driver display, wireless charging for the phone. There's no wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, but with the Wire you get that option as well. A lot of piano black surfaces, just monotone black interiors, which is all great. But where it gets really nice is the fact that A, it gets paddle shifters, B, it gets a voice command function which has actually been tuned to accept multiple languages, so it actually accepts voice commands even in Hindi. So just to give you an example, sunroof kholo.
Opening the sunroof.
There you go. Now, the sunroof, also the single pane sunroof, which is in such high demand in a tropical country, I'm not sure why, but that is also a segment first, as is the fact that this is the only sub 4 meter SUV to come with a factory fitted CNG option. So really Hyundai has covered all its bases in various regards, and they want to really make sure that this does twice as many numbers in terms of sales than the Punch. In order to amplify its safety quotient, which is something of a strong suit for the Punch, they've even thrown in 6 airbags as standard, along with hill hold, ESC, ABS and whatnot. So while its global NCAP rating is yet to come out from Hyundai's part, they claim to have done whatever they could to make this car as safe as possible within this price range. And now what remains to be seen is how this thing fares on the road. A feature-loaded cabin is a Hyundai trademark, but does the Exter excel on the performance front? Now in terms of power levels, you get 83 horsepower and about 114 Newton meters of torque. So by no means is this a highway scorcher, even though we are on the highway right now. That said, it's still a robust 4-cylinder engine, and it feels pretty peppy on roads where not a lot of power is required. This is the AMT, and I must say, as far as AMTs go, this is quite impressive because it doesn't always require a very steady, gradual throttle input. You can pretty much just put your foot down, and the noise levels are low, the refinement levels are actually pretty high. So the visibility is great, the ride height is great, and as a starting point, it's already got two things working for it. The 4-cylinder Kappa petrol motor on the Exter, while not the peppiest, is easily the smoothest in the segment, offering a healthy mix of fuel economy and performance that more than suffices for city driving. NVH levels are remarkably low. Familiar with the Grand i10 Neos will find the cabin comfortingly familiar. But what really impresses is the way this AMT gearbox performs. Yes, it doesn't like to be rushed and prefers gentle, steady throttle inputs. But switch to the pedals and even that problem starts to disappear. The manual is where you can have a little more fun. Although, as far as AMTs go, the one on this car is easily one of the most impressive ones. It doesn't make as much noise. Yes, it requires gradual throttle inputs, but coupled with the paddle shifters, it's actually quite a breeze. Here you have a little more access to the limited amount of power that this car has to offer, but I should say that the 114 Newton meters of torque do feel accessible much lower at the rev range, and that makes a big difference both on the road and off road. But the real surprise lies in just how adept the Exter feels off-road. Normally I'm the first one to really laugh skeptically at these things being called SUVs, but in this case, while not an SUV, it is certainly more than capable of going off-road without really necessitating all-wheel drive. Now, I've been driving this thing predominantly off-road, and we've got some pretty deep muddy trenches around here thanks to the rain. We're about 40-50 odd kilometers away from Jaipur, and in these muddy hilly terrains there's actually a fair bit of dust and dirt and slush. And the Exter, I'm pleased to announce, has actually performed quite exceptionally. It certainly looks the part with its high ground clearance, cladded edges and massive front and rear bash plates. But it's one thing to look the part and a totally different thing to play it. And then there's the fact that it's actually genuinely compact. So if you are going through narrow, rutted roads, if the route in front of you just suddenly becomes a bit more narrow, the Exter over other competitors and a lot of other hatchbacks is what just manages to wriggle through, because it genuinely feels that compact to maneuver. To sum up, what really works in favor of the Exter is its excellent ride quality, the fact that it can actually drive over rough, muddy terrain, its excellent driving position offering a commanding view of the road, exceptional boot space of 391 litres, a smooth, fuss-free powertrain, and a cabin offering low NVH levels. In all likelihood, the Exter will be the new benchmark. In fact, it's likely to eat away into the sales of several hatchbacks, the Grand i10 Neos included. Because in addition to the Grand i10's already stellar list of attributes, the Exter brings a level of everyday practicality that's hard to ignore. Everything about it has been tailored around everyday driving in India, and not only is it going to edge past its competitors, the Hyundai Exter will likely prove very hard to catch.